Namato Ratana Tayasa. May I pay homage to Triple Zem, the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. My respect goes to my parents and my teacher. My respect also goes to Most Venerable Pratep Visuddhi Muni, the director of Vipassana Thura Institute, Mahachulalongkorn University. My respect also goes to Thanachan Mahati, the Director of Planning and Training Development of Vipassana Thura Institute. Most Venerable Mahasangha and their participants on this retreat. Okay. So you hear me well? Anyone? You hear me? Oh, okay. I presume that nodding means hearing me. So, okay. So thank you for letting me know that you hear me. Today is I presume it's day 8. So you have 2 more days to go. And also I presume that within these 8 days of a time, you have developed your practice, both in terms of a theoretical knowledge from different teachers and different masters. And in terms of the practice, although there may be dislikes and do not want to practice, because this is a compulsory that you have to be, with that automatically there will be some practices going on. With that, you are gaining some concentration and some wisdom, and which is undoubtedly, I am pretty sure. So I believe that everyone is enjoying as well. Are we enjoying? I believe that we are all enjoying this practice. It's not a prison, right? That you have to be here and you have to practice and you can't do anything else. In fact, I saw everybody is doing something. Reading or working or typing or talking on the phones. Actually, we're doing everything actually. So the most important part is the enjoyment of the practice. When we know how to enjoy what we are doing, and everything happens. And it's become easier, it's become happier, and it's become enjoyable, all sort of things. Yeah? Yesterday, after a long time, and many members have said to me that, Ajahn, you need a break, you need a break. And members realize that I've been working so hard, and then always in the temple teaching and the counseling and like that, when I was telling me to go a retreat, go and have a break. So I went to the mountains yesterday. I left the temple at 5 o'clock, and then we went up to mountains for about 3 hours. 3 hours up in the mountains. And then by the time when we arrived, after 3 hours of walking, start to snowing. It's a very blizzard snowing. And when it starts snowing, we also still continue hoping that we will go up to the mountain. And unfortunately, the snow was so deep that we can't see the pathways. So we had to change the path. So we were climbing up where there was no paths. And suddenly I realized a fear come to me, yeah? Fear of a death. Because if I did not grasp or did not hold this rock, which is very strong, and slipped, and I will be go down to the river, which took us to climb up this top was 3 hours. So one slip, you are down to the river, by the river, and you will be dead. And suddenly there was a fear arise that, oh, what happens if I slept? So that very moment, I simply stopped myself, spent some time, gained all the awareness, and then I told to myself, I can't go down because it's very slippery, and I have to go up now only. So then mindfully, I began to walk up, and eventually I managed to cross that dangerous plot. And after that, every step that I was taking, I became a very mindful. I became a very mindful and try to enjoy the snow, the wind, the cold. It was -7, so that's really cold. Yeah? So with that, the practice of a meditation, that's why it's so helpful in our day-to-day life, that we can use it in every walks, every time, every day. I remember, when I was in Wat Pak Nam, Luang Por Sot used to say about the mind. He said that mind is เห็นจำคิดรู้ เห็นจำคิดรู้ Our mind is basically does 4 things. เห็นจำคิดรู้ I spent a lot of time contemplating that. And then later on, after I came to UK and established the center here in Aberdeen, and teaching meditation, I reflect that those words. And then it helped me to understand sati even more. Because sati basically means remembering what you are doing, remembering what's happening, and recollecting, reminding you to see things, and always remembering. That's why if you remember my beginning talk a few days ago, I was talking that mindfulness meditation is not just about being mindful of the present moment, but also mindfulness of the recent past and the near future. So it's called retrospect. Yeah? Retro means past and spec means seeing. So it helped me to understand furthermore that hen means seeing clearly as it takes place while we are paying attention to, while we are meditating. While we are meditating, whatever arises, we are able to be mindful of. Yeah? Mindful of, without any delusional or illusional or not knowing what's going on. We see it clearly. That's why when you practicing meditation and when you give your interview or report to the masters, they will ask you, how is your rising falling? How is your walking meditation? And how did you manage to walk? How did you manage to be mindful of that? And that's simply trying to find out that whether we can see things clearly or not. When it is rising, we can see it clearly or not. It is rising. When it is falling, whether we can see it falling or not. So that's seeing things clearly as it is when it is taking place. And that's the first character of our mind in our practice that we have to have. We have to be mindful what's going on in the moment. And not just remembering what's happening. We have to acknowledge. That's why here comes the noting, acknowledging that this is happening, acknowledging that this is taking place. Suppose you are um, going in your storeroom, and you have to know that what are you looking in the storeroom. Yeah? You just go into the storeroom without knowing anything, and you don't know what you're going to get it, then you won't get it. But you exactly know what you're going to get it. So then you see that and acknowledging that you have seen it. Yeah? So acknowledging whatever you are seeing in your practice. This again, this is, I call it Ajahn, yeah, remembering. And then a kit is reminding or recollecting. So reminding us again and again that, okay, this is what's happening here. Ability to remember it and knowing it clearly. Knowing it retrospectively, knowing it clearly. That's the fourth one. And that is basically the practice. And if you remember, very first day, I asked you to challenge your own sanya, challenge your own perception. That because I know that you have been practicing and you have been studying a lot, and from listening while you were giving reports to the Ajahn Chakun Patep, I remember I collect that probably over 50% of participants here are students of PhD students. So I feel like I haven't got any degrees, and how am I here to lecturing such a great scholars? Huh? So, and then also I recollect that many of you have been practicing with so many teachers. And some were saying that, oh, I've been practicing in this tradition, and that I've been practicing that tradition, and then I've been having a conflict with my training, with my practice. So that's why, if you remember, on the very first day, I mentioned, leave all your sanya. I challenge your sanya. Leaving your sanya that, oh, I have been practicing with this master, with that master, with technique, this technique. We have to give away that sanya. We have to give away all the masters. We have to listen the master, the Buddha, the great master. Yeah? Buddha didn't say that you have to follow this or that. Buddha is saying, listen to your body, listen to your mind. Yeah? Buddha didn't say that a practice of a Buddha or Samma Arahang rising, falling. No. Buddha said, know your body and know your mind. So first thing and first we have to give away is the sanya that we have. And then rather than bringing the sanya in the practice, which is again a concept, and which is again we are conditioning, which is not the reality. When the moment when we pay attention to the mind and the body which is present here, then that moment we understand clearly what's happening. And that's how first thing first we have to give away the sanya, so that we will have pure meditation according to what the Buddha was teaching. We shouldn't be in a stick with our masters. They are just a guider. Yeah? They are just a instructor. They're giving us a path. We have to walk on that path. And the second is that there are people after meditation, they would like to have a magical powers. They want to be special. They want to gain kind of reading others' mind, ability to deal with so many other mystic powers. So that also we have to give away. The practice of a meditation is to understand what's happening. Yeah? So when you give the reports, and that's how you will realize that what am I doing right and what am I doing wrong. Yeah? So that's the sati is basically, that's why hen cham kit ru, seeing things as they truly are when it is taking place, acknowledging it and reminding and knowing retrospectively, recollecting it. We are very good at doing good things. Yeah, we are very good at good things, going to give dana, practice of a sila, going to the temples, and we're talking about we need to give a dana and so on. We're very good at it, and we will be traveling far and wide, giving papa and donations and like that. But when we look at the Buddha's teachings, yeah, in Ovada Patimokkha, Buddha said, Sabba papasa akaranam. That's the first one. Yeah? Sabba papasa akaranam. That's the first one. Kusalasa upasampada. Yeah? Sachitta pariyodapanang etang buddhana sasana. So, we are very good at doing good things, but we are very bad at doing not to do bad things. The first one. Yeah? We are not too good not to do bad things. First one. Actually, Buddha is telling us to not to do bad things first. Yeah? So we have to learn not to do bad things. And the good things automatically comes. Whereas nowadays what's happening, we are trying to do good things in order to erase bad things. But you never did any practices not to do bad. You're doing still the same thing. It's like someone is drinking alcohol, and then tomorrow morning he wakes up and then get a sure head and say, oh, alcohol is bad, I'm not going to drink. And all day he will be going to the temple and meditate or listening the Dhamma talk or become a very good upasakas. And then later night again, just one glass. Go back again. Go back, just one glass, little bit. It's okay. I am mindful. Yeah, I know. I will just have one glass. And then after finish one glass, it's okay. Just another one glass. It's okay. Just another one glass. And then what happened? Drunk. Like that. So that's why practice of Buddha's teachings, in fact, we have to learn not to do bad things. When we not to do bad, good things automatically starts. It just comes. And when good things comes, what happens? Mind automatically calms. Mind is free from violations. Mind is free from any regrets. Mind is free from any remorse, upset. It's free. You don't have to pay for it. It's free. And with that, what happened? Mind is contemplated, focused, composed. And that's how you can purify your mind. Sachitta pariyodapanang. Your mind becomes sachitta, purified. Sachitta, purified. That's why in the practice, we have to learn to reduce and the virya, right? Samma virya. We have to learn to reduce any unwholesome qualities, any unwholesome state of the mind that we have, reducing it, not letting any akusalas to arise. And that's the first one. First virya, atapi. Yeah? And the second is abandoning every unwholesome akusalas from our behaviors and taking it out, abandoning it. That's the second. So that's the in line with the sabba papasa akaranam. That's the first one. First two in virya. And then the and then kusalasa upasampada. doing good things starts. Doing good things starts. So the third virya is any kusala dhammas are not arisen in our minds and our heart and in our behavior. We are arising it, making it to happen, making it to appear, making it to be. And then fourth one is what? Maintaining the good things that you have done. So that's how whole virya becomes in here. And that's how you gain the samadhi. That's how you gain the ways to find solution. We have understanding that a Buddha's teachings is about the kammavada. Whatever what you do, you will receive the results. Actually, Buddha was not about the kammavada. Buddha's teachings is about viryavada. You can change your destiny. And that is what the Buddha was talking about. If we can't change our destiny, then we will be slave to our karma. And now this you can see in our practice. In our practice here on this retreat, we are asked to pay attention to the rising and falling of abdomen. And if I ask you, what is the present moment awareness? What you can see in the present moment, what you can feel in the present moment, what that you can see, that is the five senses. Do you remember five senses? What are they? Our eyes, our ears, our nose, our tongue, and our body. These are always in the present moment. They won't be in the past, they won't be in the future. They're always in the present moment. Eye sees things. You only see things at front. You can't see about the past. You can't see about the future. You see only what appears in front of you. And that is a seeing clearly. You are seeing it very clearly at front when it is taking place. The sound that you hear, again, you are hearing only the sound that arises here in this moment. You can't hear of the past or the future. The hearing also happens here. Smelling also happens here in the present moment. Taste also takes place in the present moment. And a feeling of a comfy, the physical body comes to contact, also takes place in the present moment. So in the five senses, it happens at all the time in the present moment. And now we are given to pay attention to the rising and falling of abdomen is basically the physical body. Paying attention to the body contemplation. And this is happening in the moment here and now at all the time. You can't feel the body of the past, of the future. ปกติเขาเติมรถขนาด S ไซส์เขาเติมกันมาเท่าไหร่ได้ค่ะคนที่เติมน้ำมันปิดเสียงก่อนได้ไหมตอนนี้กำลังเติมน้ำมันในใจนะไม่ใช่ในรถจำได้ยินหรือเปล่าโอเค Okay. So rising and falling. Make me laugh now. Okay. Right. Rising and falling of abdomen is basically happening here and now in the present moment. And you have to remember further on that when you are paying attention to the rising and falling of abdomen, it is not the dead end. It is just the foundation that you are standing on. It's like your mind is anchored there. Yeah, you're anchoring your mind there. And then whatever happens, you're aware. As you're standing on this platform, when you hear the sound, we are asked to notice the sound, leaving this anchor, leaving this rising and falling. We're hearing the sound, hearing, but we are not listening. What do you know the difference in English language? Hearing and listening is two different words, and it functions in two different ways. If you are hearing, it's just the sound that you are hearing. But the very moment when you listen, you are putting all your sanya. Oh, I like it. Beautiful song. So you're listening. But here in the practice of a meditation, sutte suttamattang. We just hear as a hearing, no listening at all. Sutte suttamattang. We are hearing as hearing. So that's why we leave the rising and falling of abdomen and are listening it. Hearing, hearing, hearing. And we are asked to make a mental note, acknowledgement, mental note for 3 times. Do you know why? Have you ever noticed that why do I have to make a mental note 3 times? The more your mind becomes calmer, mind becomes alert and awake, and you become so aware of seeing these moments happening. What happens when you make a mental note? First mental note, the object's still very dominant. Second, making a mental note, what happens? Your mind has about to leave this object, the hearing object, about to leave. It's just a fading away. And then a third moment, it's already gone. You're fully with your consciousness. Yeah, with your consciousness, you are fully mindful of that. Okay, now my consciousness is with me. Now I can channel wherever I want. You become a very conscious awareness of it. And that moment again, if you notice your mind noting, acknowledging this moment of this, the third or about the fourth noting moment, what happens? Mind vaguely think of another object. Okay, mind will see vaguely which object is going to be. And then that's how that moment you will realize, if you've been practicing with rising and falling, mind grasps the rising and falling of abdomen. Okay, mind grasps rising and falling of abdomen. So that's why the rising and falling of object becomes the foundation, the primary object. So we're coming back. So that's why in the practice here, in the rising and falling, or so-called Mahasatipatthana, Satipatthana practice, we are using the rising and falling of abdomen as a foundation, and so we are also aware of all other senses that arises. Yeah? So that's why our senses can observe things that's happening only in the present moment. Only in the present moment. Now, what is the one which we remember? Why we remember, and why we are having so much emotions, so much pain and depression, stress? Because our mind. That our mind. Our mind can think about the past. It can think about the present, and it can think about the future. Okay? There's 3 moments of the mind. So that's why when we talk about the senses, a practice of insight meditation or a vipassana meditation is working with the senses, whole 6 senses, and particularly the 6th, which is the mind, and which we are aware of. And then when we look at the mind, the more we become mindful of this mind, what happens? We realize our mind has only one object at one time, at one moment. Our mind can't have 2. Yeah? I can see many of us who are here in the Zoom having a multitask talent, exhibition of a multitasking, hearing and then doing and reading and typing and like that. According to the neuroscience, now this is from the science perspective that I have read an article. According to the neuroscience, it says that people think multitask is basically means you are functioning full potential of your brain. But according to the neuroscience, it's not. Because our mind can have only one object at one time. Basically means one task, one brain, and that brings happiness. And that brings fulfillment. That brings completion, perfections. Yeah? But The moment when we have many tasks, we have divided our brain into many parts, then what happens? The results becomes not good. It actually damages our brain. It actually damages our capacity of the brain. So it's basically the result of that having a multitasking mindset is in fact causing mind to damage. There's a possibility of a dementia. That is the result says. Okay, possibility of a dementia. I hope you understand dementia. It's a very terrible, terrible disease, and I've seen so many people having it. Recently, one of our members also had it, and he died with that dementia. So if you want to be free from dementia later age, so make sure, try not to have multitasking tasks. Okay, do not be multitasking. Try to have one mind, one object at one time. Then that's how you will be able to remember whatever you're doing. Kit, yeah? I'm talking about kit now. Remembering what you're doing is reminding yourself of what am I doing here, what I'm doing here. So with that, what happens that we will develop this mind of ability to accept situations, accept the people, accept our feelings, accept our perceptions and about the thoughts and activities. And this is the first quality that one can develop through the practice of a meditation, the insight meditation. That's why when you are paying, when we are practicing Satipatthana, as we are paying attention to the rising and falling of abdomen, that moment we are asked to observe any distractions before we any thoughts on it. We are asked to accept that I have this distracted mind. Yeah? My mind has distracted. You're not fighting over your mind that, oh, I'm supposed to be paying attention to the rising and falling of abdomen. Why am I thinking? Why am I doing something else? This is time for the meditation. No. You first accept the reality that your mind has distracted. And that moment, if you remember, I told 4 words to remember to deal with that. That's observation, acknowledgement, noting, and let go. And these 4, observation of the object, acknowledgement of the mind that has distracted to that object, and noting, mental note, and letting go, begins the moment when we accept the moment that our mind has changed the object to something else. That is acceptance. And this is again not only in our practice of a meditation, but also we will be able to apply in our day-to-day life. We will be able to overcome from making a boundaries and making a classifications and putting a labels on people. We will be able to accept people as they are without putting any information on it. The moment when you're able to accept as they are, you're happy. You can talk to them. You can be free with them. That's the first quality you will develop. And the second, it's not just about acceptance. You have to respect. When your mind is distracted, you have to respect to your mind that mind is distracted. And you have to respect that mind will never be staying with one object forever. It's always changing. It's always changing. My mind is not designed to be a robot that you are just concentrating in one object. So that's why as you're paying attention to the rising and falling of abdomen, we are not told to be with it all the time. We are asked to notice whatever other objects arises. If you hear the sound, just the hearing. If you feel the pain, you're feeling the pain. Notice the pain. When you're thinking, just notice the thinking. So it's respecting the mind always go in different places, different objects. And this respect, helps us not to reject, not to ignore. And meanwhile, we are not following along the thoughts. Yeah? We are not going along with the thoughts. We're not going. We're simply respecting, okay, this is happening. And here actually comes the clear comprehension or clear awareness, the sampajanya. Understanding the sampajanya here, it comes. We will be able to see that whether the object that we are watching is beneficial or not. Yeah? Whether the object is beneficial or not. And this is important. Yeah? If we see that that is beneficial, what happens? We normally will cling on to it, going on with that. So that's the beneficial. And we are in there. And then a second, acknowledging that this is happening there. This is happening there. Second, it's there. It's taking place as they are in the present moment. Right? And then further on, what happens is that ability whether the second one is whether it is appropriate or not that I should go and cling on to it, whether I should pay attention to it and grab onto it. And then the third one is whether that's relevant to me or not, well, whether it is relevant or not. And then the last one is realistic. We have to be realistic. And that's how we see the value of the object. We see the value of our practice. We see the value of why am I doing? What am I doing here? What is the purpose of doing it? And here, that's why the sampajanya, the clear awareness or clear comprehension, comes and helps us to let go rather than clinging onto it. And we see the value of it. In our life, it's also quite similar. It's not about just accepting a people, but ability to respect who they are. That brings happiness. And then we're also able to value their presence. Value their presence. If they are good, we will learn more. If they are bad, again, we are okay. Accepting. So happiness is being, happiness is basically, that's why I call it, having a mind, or helping our mind to have an open heart. And when we have an open-hearted mind, it brings peace and ease. Peace and ease. And that's why the practice of a meditation is such an important key that brings happiness. And the ability to mingle and ability to be wherever you are, whatever you're doing, with happiness. And all what we need is the awareness of that object, awareness of what we are paying attention to and what's happening in the present moment. Someone asked me, how do I know my meditation is developed or not? And you can check yourself. How do I know that my meditation is developed or not? And oftentimes we check our meditation is developed or not by thinking that how long can I meditate? How much my mind is calm? How much am I become a kind, and how much I'm become a less angry and like that? Actually, it is not the progress yet. The real progress from the practice of a vipassana meditation is the moment when you realize that 4 Brahma Viharas. Anybody remember the 4 Brahma Viharas? The moment when the 4 Brahma Viharas develops in you without thinking about it, but it just arose in your mind, you become a kind, You become a kind to yourself and then also kind to other people, automatically coming from your bottom of your heart. You become a compassionate, seeing others suffering, you feel suffer as well. And it's not just a suffering, a feeling of suffering in a worldly life, also feeling of or understanding the suffering in the world. And there is samsara, this compassion generated or not. Whether you can appreciate others' success or not. Whether you can give up your jealousy of someone's success or not. Eh? Sometimes you may be realizing that, oh, we are in the same class. Why she's got a good mark? Why not me? Huh? And oh, he has, or she has completed her dissertation so quick. I feel jealous in that way. So rather than that, or I supposed to get this job, I supposed to be promoted, I supposed to be succeed more, I supposed to get that. Can you maintain your mind rather than jealousy, ill will, but appreciation, feeling happy and joy of their success or not? The moment when you have that mental state, then you can understand that, okay, my meditation is helping, my meditation is progressing. Furthermore, the most important one is whether you can keep your mind in balance or not swayed with the praise, not swayed with the blame. Attaloka Dhamma in Mangala Sutta, highest blessing. Atta Samma Panidhicha Etang Mangala Muttamam. You're not swayed by the praise, nor you're swayed by the blame, not swayed by the gain or a loss. You are able to maintain your mind equanimous, unshaken. It's like Buddha used the word called, your mind is unshaken like the stone up in the mountains, which is not shaken by the wind or the rain. That state of the mind we have to develop. The moment when we have that state of the mind, then realize that, okay, meditation is working here. Yeah, my meditation is getting progress. So if you want to check your meditation is in progress or not, check your metta, karuna, mudita, and upekha. Yeah? So the moment when you can check your metta, karuna, mudita, upekha, and if that's growing, then it is working. If not, then still need to work pretty much a lot. Yeah, pretty much a lot. You need to work on that. And with that, what happens? Our life becomes much, much easier. Life becomes much, much smoother. And the ability to be happy in every situation. Ability to be as we are. And that's how we will be able to free ourselves from all the tents, asavas. Asava arises the moment when there is a sankhara. Yeah? We create something out of it. That's why the vipassana is in the in the Anguttara Nikaya, book of 3. Book of not in Anguttara Nikaya. I think it's in Samyutta Nikaya. Buddha Buddha said that Katham Sankhara Dhatabba. How are the sankharas to be seen? You know, sankhara means the condition arises. Yeah. How the sankharas arises. How the sankharas can be seen. So we have to see the sankharas created. In the practice of a vipassana meditation, what are we doing? We are seeing, when we are paying attention to the body, what is other things arising. When we pay attention to the body, what is my feelings are. And then how my mind is clinging, how my mind is dealing with that. So with that, we are creating into the pleasant sensation, unpleasant sensation, and then acting with the body, mind, and speech. And that's how we are creating so many sankharas. And now here, Buddha is asking, how are the sankhara to be seen. And then the second one, Buddha further on say, Katham sankhara sammasittabba. Yeah? How sankharas can be investigated. So now we have to investigate. And there's a wise reflection, the yoni samanasikara. You're investigating it. And then the last one, the third one, the Buddha said, Katham sankhara vipassitabba. Here comes vipassana. Vipassitabba. Vipassana. Vipassi means a person who is practicing the vipassana, called vipassi. So how are the sankhara to be seen distinctively? Yeah, distinctively. So here, vipassana starts. So that moment the Buddha was talking about, we have to see the sankharas as it arises, as it functions, as it creates. So it's not about the arising moment we sankhara create, but the moment when it arises, and then we put our sanya, and then we define it. We react on it, and that's how it begins to create the sankhara. So here, in the practice of a vipassana meditation, what are we doing? Rather than reacting to the sankhara, we are responding it by objectively watching it, and then seeing the way it functions, the way it changes. So that's why in the practice of a meditation, when you are watching the rising, falling, you are watching with objectively. You're watching from distance. Now, if I, and then the same thing, when you're watching the rising and falling of abdomen, when objects arises, like the sound, like the thoughts, like the pain arises, that moment when we make a mental note, hearing, we are making this object as objective awareness of that object. And that's how we see that object will not be becoming to be sankhara. We will be seeing it as they are. So that's why I call it, in the process of a practice of a vipassana meditation, if we want to develop, I use two English languages, two words. One, react or respond. The moment when we react, we are creating furthermore. So reacting to the things that we come across. When we see, oh, I like it, that's a reaction. When we hear, we're reacting. That's our, when we react and like, I like it, I don't like it, that's a reaction. And when we react, what happens? Rather than seeing the sankhara, we are furthermore into the avidya and creating furthermore. But the practice of insight meditation, we are taught to see it as they are, the sankharas, the creation, how it creates, and objectively watching it. And with that, we will be able to understand that, oh, these sankharas are conditioned arose. These sankharas are conditioned developed. When we see that sankharas are conditioned developed, what happened? Oh, it's going to evaporate. It's going to fade away. It's going to go away. So that's how we will be able to drop it up, rather than clinging onto it. Rather than developing upadana, we will simply see things as they truly are, seeing distinctively, an ability to let it go. And as I've said in the previous talks, that letting go is not about we don't like it, so we push it away, but it's about like a toilet. We go to the toilet and then let it go. We're not keeping it, we just simply flush it away. And once we flush it away, we are happy. So that is the technique of a meditation, and that is the purpose of the practice of an insight meditation. And eventually with that, sachitta pariyotpana, our mind will be pure, our mind will be clean, free from distractions, free from tents, and we will be able to attain the liberation. And according to the Satipatthana, we know if we are diligently practicing, we should have been enlightened yesterday, because today is day 8. Yesterday was the 7th. Anybody enlightened? Huh? So day 7 supposed to be enlightened, at least of a Sotapanna, if not Arhat. So with this, I end here for tonight, this afternoon or this morning's talk. And with this, I wish you all the best with whatever, whoever studying, or I heard that some of you are writing a thesis, dissertations, and some of you still studying. And meanwhile, may all you be success in your life. So successful in your study, successful in your life, and eventually successful in this cycle of a birth and a death, attaining the Nibbana, free yourself, be happy, be peaceful. I end here for tonight's talk. May you all be well and happy. May you all be safe. May the Buddha Dhamma Sangha bless you. And thank you. Satu. So if anyone has got any questions to ask, you're most welcome. Does that mean nobody's listening me? Okay, fully understood, right? So no questions? Good. That means enlightened. Great. Oh อาจารย์ทีช่วยเปิดไมค์ให้โยมหน่อยครับ
เปิดแล้วครับอาจารย์ครับ
ครับผมขอบคุณครับ Yeah. Okay. Now, this mic is on. You can unmute yourself and.
โอเคเปิดได้แล้วค่ะค่ะนมัสการค่ะ I like your words นะthere's if you do something is good thing the best thing is cannot coming that's very good yes and then if thing is good or not good that's I mean or everyone is mean the same about the good thing or not is the bad thing.
Good thing is
because
always
everyone is not have the meaning about the good thing or bad thing different. I think that
good thing is always good, bad is always bad, whether you like it or not, whether people change it or not. Killing is good or not. Everybody say good.
Okay, everyone is accept that's good, right? But sometimes the good thing is for me and for you is like that. Okay, but
No.
but I know that and that's like everyone is the good thing is that I mean is make everyone is prayed.
No, good thing is not about killing is good. Everybody will be agree that killing is bad. Nobody will say good. Yeah, and in the same way, a good and a bad, anything that you have done which causes you trouble and which causes others to be in trouble, then that is bad. Doesn't matter what, whether it's small speech, whether small action, even a thinking. That's why it's a bad tucharita. When you are thinking bad, it is making you upset. You are not getting benefit. So that's why bad is bad, good is a good. And eventually, after you have gained insight, further on, there will be no good and no bad. You will be able to understand that there will be no good and no bad. Good and a bad is a conventional reality that we come across. We define it as a good and a bad. There will be simply, that's why the practice of insight meditation is to understand that everything is sankharas, conditioned. And when you're able to understand that everything is condition created, then there is no good and no bad. Good also created as conditioned, bad also conditioned. Conditioned by you, conditioned by the community, conditioned by the culture, country. Yeah, you will understand that. So with that, you will be able to let it be. Okay, that's fine. And that's why inside this is called a sankhara. It's called sabba sankhara samatho. That means all the sankharas been quietened. And that is the attainment of nibbana. The vipassana meditation is that. There will be no good and no bad eventually. Good and bad is our reaction to the things, reaction to the situation. Right?
May I have a question?
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand that's clear that.
Okay.
Okay. Let's Pikung talk to you again.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
I just want to be clear that Vedana is a feeling, and Sanya is a kind of memory, and Sankhar is a kind of thinking. Am I right?
So Vedana is feeling.
Yes.
Sanya is, you can call it a remembering, or the English word
memory. Memory.
English word is called perception. It's not just a memory. It's about the perception.
The
Perceiving.
perception.
Yeah, perceiving it. Yeah, and then the third one you call sankhara.
Yeah. What
sankhara,
is
English? English word is still debating which one is the right one for the sankhara.
Debate.
Yeah. Debate. It's still debating that which one is the right one. But famous word uses a karma formation.
Formation.
Okay. And now recently, new translation has emerged called will, your will.
Okay. Because I'm not clear about the cetasik. In Thai, it's 52 cetasik. It's quite difficult for me to really understand it.
So
how you imagine, is it?
It's not imagination, it's a realization. Now
realization, yes, realization.
Now you remind me asking that, remind me a story at the time of the Buddha. There was one monk who he became a monk thinking that he will be able to be enlightened, and he had to remember so many vinayas, the rules, and so many restrictions, and he thought, oh, it's so difficult to be a monk. I can't do it. I want to disrobe. Better being a layman is good. And then the Buddha told him, oh, don't worry, just guard your mind. That's all. In a practice of a meditation, you don't have to go detail. This is that, this is that, this is that. And in a practice of meditation, if we are following all those, this and that, oh, this is chitta, this is chetasikas, and this is a moha chitta, this is a moha sahagata chitta, like that, then that's not a meditation. It's a vipassanuk.
Understand.
It's a vipassanuk, right? But in the practice, what happens is that when you're paying attention to it, what happens is that according to the 5 aggregates, we can see chitta and cetasika clearly. So cetasikas are the Vedana, Sanya, and Sankhara are cetasikas. Yeah? And then Vijnana, Vijnana is known as a chitta that comes along with this. And when you practice, what happens is that the more you become a calm, Vedana becomes quietened. First, the Vedana becomes quiet. Right? And then a Sanya becomes quieter too. Right? So we start from Sankhara. There will be no creation on the things that you are observing. So mind is disconnecting from sankhara. You are not making any further on. And then with that, in order to make things, you have to have a memory, the perception about that object. So perception becomes right perception. With that, you have a right attitude, right understanding of things. And with this, what happens? The Vedana becomes the right understanding. All three, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, becomes quietened. And that's how that moment you will be able to see this mind, clear mind. And eventually this clear mind even itself is a condition, and that also will go. So that's why it's good to have a knowledge about these chitta and chetasikas, that how many chittas, how many chetasikas are there, but we shouldn't be applying that, thinking in our practice. It will just emerge one after another. When you become angry, you will be able to notice that I am I am angry. So that angry is a dosa charita, right? A dosa chitta. And a dosa chitta, again, when you are noticing that, you will be able to see that how the dosa, this anger, has arisen to me. And that's because somebody has done something wrong and you dislike it. Then that's anger is right. And that's again dosa sahagatang sampayuttam, right? Another things has come together. That's how it's created my dosa, the anger, like that. So these you will be able to see in one after another, and the moha chitta also. You will be able to see. That's why in the Satipatthana, in the Chittanupassana, clearly said in 16 stages, when you have a dosa chitta, you know that you have a dosa chitta. When you have a moha chitta, you know that you have a moha chitta. When you are not dosa chitta, you know. Not moha chitta, you know. Raga chitta, you know. Not raga chitta, you know. Like that. See, it's a mind contemplation. It is there. Buddha clearly said it. So that's why rather than going into that, this is that, naming it, it's not about the naming. It's about knowing. It's about knowing what's happening the moment here and now. And that will help us to understand deeper into the mind and the mental concomitant. Okay, so two. Learn Bali and understand clearly. Bali is good and good to have a knowledge. It helps us to clear our understanding, for definitely, yes. Because the translation are so many, and each individual will translate differently according to their understanding. So when even the Pali translation, a person who translate the Pali, first that person has to have a good linguistic knowledge, and a second, not only the linguistic knowledge, that person also need to have the Buddhist philosophical knowledge, and not only the philosophical knowledge, that person has to have experiential knowledge. Only then it comes to closer to the meaning of that word. So that's why commentaries are good. We have to rely on the commentaries so that we will have a more understanding of what the Buddha was trying to say. We can't convey the right knowledge, right understanding of what the Buddha was saying until we gain the enlightenment. And that is the same level. Only then we will be able to comprehend the words correctly. So as the words been revolved along the way, like a Bhikkhu Bodhi, one of the great proliferate Pali scholar and translator, Buddhist scripture translator in English language. He has, so many corrections over the period of a time. Now he's changing the translation according to the times. Okay.
กราบขอบพระคุณพระอาจารย์ค่ะแต่ I also agree with the meanings that there are up to the people who have translated beyond the language.
Yeah.
Like you are saying, let it go, but the feeling or the state of let it go is very different from the word we are saying.
Oh,
Even we
okay.
say it be, but in the real meaning or the feeling when we are having the moment of let it be, it seems
Yeah.
like it's very light, very enjoying. It may not exactly mean the same in English or in Thai. I feel like this is a different thinking level or beyond the thinking level, beyond the practice level. There might require a lot of practice until we have that moment of experience. And I do understand when you say it may not depend on the translation because maybe a limitation of the people who have an understanding on those specific languages. From the Buddha way of saying, I think those are universal language. When we reach to the level that you are saying, being practice, being let it go, and once we have reached to that moment, somehow we may not also hold that moment again and again. And then finally we need to let it be. I really like the way you are ending the story.
Okay, good. Thank you. There is in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra, and when we read it, there's a third one is a Nirodha. Yeah, Nirodha Satya. And Nirodha Satya, Buddha clearly said, saying, do you remember? Anybody remember the third Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra, the Nirodha one?
Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra.
Yeah. Nirodha Satya. Nirodha Satya.
Nirodha Satya.
Anyone can chant? But anyway, okay. So in the Nirodha Satya, Buddha said, Chago patinisako mutti analayo. That's the way of letting go.
ป้าไม่มีอาการอะไรนะ
ใคร
เพราะว่า
เข้ามาใหม่
ป้าไม่มีอาการ
Okay, so that is a Chago patinisako mutti analayo. Anybody came across with that? In the Nirodha Satya? And that's one of the best way to learn how to let go. And that's the way to be enlightened, actually. And you can check it in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra, Nirodha Satya. The Buddha clearly said, in order to overcome the tanha, we have to learn Chago patinisako mutti analayo. Chago means letting go, be free. Patinisako, although you have let go, you're still thinking about it. You haven't fully let go. Oh, I want to let go, but you haven't. You're still clinging onto it. Yeah. Mutti, you have given up, but still they're hanging on. You're still holding on to it. And analayo, it means completely free yourself. And that analayo is possible the moment when you have fully understood. You have fully understood things as they are. And that moment, you don't think about letting go. It already happened. And then in that moment, you don't have to even think, okay, it is okay. You don't have to let it be. It's already be there. You become observant. You become observer, like you are watching a play. You're watching a play and you sit standing and you're watching a play. You realize everything. Oh, that is the king, that is the queen, but they are not the real king and queen. They're just playing. They're just playing the part. As soon as they come out from the stage, they are not. So we will be able to see. We become a real observant. We will become a kind of a detached from everything what's happening. And that moment, we don't need to, oh, he should be king at all the time. Oh, he should be queen at all the time. We will, that's okay. It's just playing the part. That's why the famous writer in English language called Shakespeare, he said that this whole world is a stage and we are all playing our part on that stage. And that's exactly what the Buddha was teaching. This is all impermanent. We're just coming here and playing our work, cultivating good things and perfecting our perfections, and eventually we gain enlightenment. And when enlightenment appears, nothing to worry. It's already there. Huh? Like that. So I've given a few books that I have written on the in English. There's like a question and answer, meditation guidance, and then stories that I come across in English. And there is one book in Thai, which is the Hong Hang Sati. That's in Thai language that I have written. So you can have a read my understanding about meditation and my understanding about the Buddhism. And if you have any questions or if you have any complaint about it, you want to challenge me, then welcome. Text me or email me.
I had downloaded the one since the last session we had in February. Thank you.
Right.
I did the practice from the last sessions. We had received your file in the PDF. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
No more.
Sadhu. Okay, anyone else?
ก็คงจะหมดคำถามไว้แต่เพียงเท่านี้ก่อนเนาะเดี๋ยวท่านอาจารย์ผู้เป็นพระวิปัสสนาจารย์ท่านมารอพวกเราด้วยนะฉะนั้นก็จะได้ขอบคุณท่านอาจารย์นะครับนะซึ่งท่านได้เมตตาต่อสถาบันวิปัสสนาธุระมาโดยตลอดนะครับตั้งแต่คอร์สครั้งแรกรุ่นแรกรุ่นที่2รุ่นที่3ซึ่งท่านพระอาจารย์ได้เมตตาต่อสถาบันวิปัสสนาธุระมาโดยตลอดฉะนั้นในนามของผู้บริหารโดยมีพระเดชพระคุณท่านหลวงพ่อท่านเจ้าคุณพระเทพวิสุทธิมุนีผู้อำนวยการสถาบันวิปัสสนาธุระเป็นต้นเป็นประธานพร้อมด้วยบุคลากรเจ้าหน้าที่แห่งสถาบันวิปัสสนาธุระมหาวิทยาลัยมหาจุฬาลงกรณราชวิทยาลัยพร้อมด้วยพระโยคาวจรบุคคลทั้งที่เป็นในส่วนของบรรพชิตและคฤหัสถ์ขอกราบขอบพระคุณในความเมตตาของท่านพระอาจารย์สุชนสุชโนที่ได้เมตตานำประสบการณ์ในการปฏิบัติวิปัสสนากรรมฐานในตามหลักของสติปัฏฐาน4พร้อมทั้งได้มีการชี้แนะแนวทางให้กับผู้สนใจในการปฏิบัติวิปัสสนากรรมฐานในครั้งนี้กระผมขอกราบอนุโมทนาและขอบพระคุณท่านพระอาจารย์เป็นอย่างยิ่งที่ได้เมตตาต่อสถาบันวิปัสสนาธุระทางสถาบันวิปัสสนาธุระไม่มีสิ่งหนึ่งประการใดที่จะมอบไว้เป็นปฏิการคุณตอบสนองถวายแด่ท่านพระอาจารย์ได้นอกเหนือจากคำอนุโมทนาขอบพระคุณท่านพระอาจารย์เป็นอย่างสูงหากมีคอร์สครั้งต่อไปก็คงหวังว่าจะได้รับความเมตตาจากท่านพระอาจารย์เป็นอย่างดีเหมือนเช่นเคยในโอกาสนี้กระผมขอกราบขอบพระคุณพระอาจารย์ไว้ณโอกาสนี้กราบขอบพระคุณครับ
ผมขอบพระคุณครับที่นิมนต์มาแชร์ความรู้ความเข้าใจของผมครับผมขออนุโมทนากับญาติโยมทุกท่านนะครับสาธุ